They say what they mean and they mean what they say. Whether that's because they're essentially gobshites, yeah, that's it's kind of true, I suppose, when it comes to people like Farage and Lee Anderson, especially.
And when they take a wrong turn, then we abandon Reform UK. The only solution I can see, the only weapon I can see is Reform UK. Now, I don't think we should get on our hands and knees and worship Reform UK as if they've been sent from God, as if they're the perfect, because they're not, and we don't know where Reform UK are going to go several years from now. But at this moment in time, Reform UK is the only way forward I can see. And when they take a wrong turn, then we abandon Reform UK and we go somewhere else. But I keep hearing people who are thinking Reform UK are perfect and have got all the answers. They haven't. They're just a lot better than anyone else we've got at the moment. They're nowhere near perfect. So let's use Reform UK, and I mean that in a derogatory term. Let's use them to push the agenda the way we want to push the agenda and get towards where we want to go. And if they don't want to go all the way with us, then we abandon them. And then we hitch our wagon to another political party who may take us the rest of the way. But Reform at the moment are the only game in town.
Yeah, and the appeal of Reform UK, unlike the Tories, unlike anybody else, is they say what they mean and they mean what they say. Whether that's because they're essentially gobshites, yeah, that's kind of true, I suppose, when it comes to people like Farage and Lee Anderson, especially. But people like that, at least the genuine people who are standing up for what they believe in, which you don't get in any other party. You've got, I mean, to be fair, PMQs, if you saw PMQs this week or not, I'd never heard of Alex Burkhardt in the Tory party. I'd never heard of him, but he actually gave Angela Rayner an absolute kicking. Like she had this script in front of her that had obviously been given to her by a lot of civil servants. And Angela Rayner, one thing she is good at, I must admit, is PMQ. She will stand there and she will argue, and she's quite good at it. And because she's another one who does actually say what she means.
She's a tough cookie.
Yeah, she is. And she was absolutely dumbstruck by the questions coming at her. She couldn't answer them. She refused basically to answer them. Labour are in full-on retreat. And Reform UK need to start hammering home the message now. Stop trying to be establishment. Start hammering them. Even look at, I know Reform UK are making a big push inside Scotland at the moment and Wales, because before the next general election, you've got the Holyrood and Welsh Senate elections in about 18 months' time. Reform UK in the latest polls have actually overtaken Welsh Labour on 28% in the polls now. It's only one poll, so it's not carried away, but it's just one poll, but they're in first place by that poll. And in Scotland, I don't know if I know you don't cover Scottish politics as much as I do, but in Scotland,
I chatted to the Silver Fox the other day on Scottish
yeah,
politics, so I'm a bit more updated than I was a couple of weeks ago.
well, it's weird because the SNP are actually the official party in charge, running a minority administration now. But it's actually Scottish Labour that have become the enemy, if you will, inside Holyrood because of Starmer's policies. To such an extent that they've dropped, I think it's 11 points now in the voting intention in Scotland. They're dropping right down. And you've got all the other parties, the Tories, the Greens, the Lib Dems, the SNP, all having a go at Labour about their policies. And Sarwar, the Scottish Labour leader, has been forced to U-turn Starmer's policy on the winter fuel payment just to try and stop people besieging Labour, if you will. They're in full-on retreat in Scotland, in Wales, and in England.
And in Scotland, this is a gift for the SNP.
That's the only downside to it, of course. It will mean that the SNP will probably end a minority administration, but they'll end up regaining control of Scotland, in some way or another.